ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930 present The Drive.
It is Monday, February 19th. Your drive ready to go on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. I'm your host, Paul Swann. Thanks for being a part of today's show. We're going to get you caught up on everything that happened this weekend. Basketball, good news and bad news. The good news is the Marshall women won again. They won at Old Dominion 89-75. We're going to hear from Kim Caldwell in a few minutes on that one. Also, the men lost over the weekend, a game that I said Marshall would win. I came out on our pregame coverage. I said Marshall's going to win this one. I was sure of myself. I was confident that Marshall's no way that Marshall's losing at Coastal Carolina. It's not going to happen. Marshall had already beaten Coastal Carolina pretty badly. That was back on February 3rd, 91-74. No way Coastal got that much better. Marshall's won this game already 3 times in a row, all by double digits. No way Coastal's winning this game. I said all that, and Marshall lost. 74-67. I even had a couple of people message me afterwards here at the radio station. They weren't listening. Like, hey, what happened? What was the score? I told them, and then they called me. Are you really? Yeah. Surprisingly enough, Marshall lost to Coastal Carolina. I wasn't expecting that one. We'll hear from Dan D'Antoni. He was still optimistic. That was something we talked about earlier in the postgame. Now, how do you feel? Where's this team at right now? Can Marshall get it going? They've got 4 games to go and then the tournament to start putting it together and make that run. And honestly, the 4 games, if Marshall wins or loses those, it still won't matter. Dan D'Antoni's pointing towards the tournament, and that's where it all matters because you win the tournament, you get into the NCAA tournament. Win your conference tournament, you get the bid, you go to the NCAA. That's usually how it works in leagues like the Sun Belt. So that's what Dan's pointing at. But is the ride to the Sun Belt tournament making you a little helter-skelter right now? Is it killing your heart? We'll get your text in this hour. 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. We'll definitely break that one down. Then we'll hear from Dan D'Antoni. Some good stuff happened over the weekend as well. Forget about the Marshall loss for a minute. Some good stuff did happen. First of all, softball goes 4-1 over the weekend. And the ECU Softball Classic, the Herd's now 6-4. So some good stuff there. I think baseball is getting better. Gets swept by College of Charleston. 4-game series. The first 2 were not competitive. The last 2, much better, more competitive. Marshall lost the final today, 8-5, now 0-4. But I do like the fact that Marshall didn't roll over those last 2 games. And actually, those games were a little bit more competitive. New team, you're trying to still find your identity. Look, you're opening up a new baseball stadium. Doesn't mean you're going to field a championship team right away. So I get it. But I was still happy that the Thundering Herd was a little bit more competitive in those last 2 matches. And, of course, unfortunately for tennis lost at Illinois on Sunday. Team's now 9-4. Still a good mark, playing some really tough opponents. This is one of those sports where you play that tough non-conference schedule, you're going to be a lot better for conference. And this is one where it actually does translate. John Mercer, he's a fighting champion type guy. He'll fight anybody, play anybody. You got a top 10 team, we'll play you. You're the number 1 team in the country, let's play some tennis. That's how John Mercer rolls. And so I don't feel too bad about tennis losing against Illinois on Sunday, but they're 9-4 now. And hopefully we can get John back here in the next few weeks to talk to him. So that's what happened over the weekend. Some good stuff happening for Marshall swimming and diving. They scored several medals, finished 2nd overall in the conference championships, but they scored several medals. So congratulations to that program. Track and field began today. We won't have too many details right away from that, but I'm hoping for a good performance for Marshall's track and field teams at the conference championship. We got a lot going on. This is like crossover season now. We get closer to the start of baseball at home. That's going to be a busy day with softball, baseball, basketball, everything going on. And, of course, this weekend was busy as well. But the good news is, for the most part, It's been good, competitive stuff. Softball, very competitive. Tennis, competitive. Track and field's been doing really good. Marshall women now 13-1 in the Sun Belt, looking like they're going to clinch that championship, that regular season championship. And I went back and made sure that I got everything right, that I had the numbers right. We'll get into that when we hear from Kim Caldwell. But I was at Marshall the last time that Marshall won a title. And I don't mean regular season championship. I mean tournament title. The last time Marshall women won. I had went back to finish up. And so I was a student at Marshall when that was happening. Got to go back that far. I'm not that old, but we got to go back a ways. So we'll break that down. There's some interesting stuff here. And Marshall's on target to winning a regular season championship. Now, winning a regular season championship doesn't mean anything unless you can get that tournament championship. You want that. We look at the Marshall teams from years ago, and winning regular season championships meant a lot, and there's a but to that. And we'll break down those records. But I did talk to Dan today. I did talk to Kim today. Dan's optimistic. He's positive. He came out today, and he was very quotable, had a lot to say. I don't know necessarily if it was more about the opponent, a lot about the team, a lot about where they're at, a lot about philosophy. Doesn't want the fans to get too down on this team. Doesn't want to have a negative outlook. He's got some interesting things to say. So we're going to hear a lot of that, and we're going to hear it in context as well. I'm not going to just give you a bit here or a bit there. We got a few longer statements than usual. I want you to hear all of that in context, because then I want to hear from you. And our text line this hour is going to be 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Also, we're going to give you a chance to win tickets. I got a 4-pack today to give you tickets to go see the Herd take on James Madison. It's coming up Wednesday night. We go on the air at 6 o'clock right here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Also on 93.7 The Dog. 4-pack of tickets to go see the Herd take on JMU. So if you're interested in those, you've got a chance today to win those. And, of course, again, tomorrow. So I've got a 4-pack today, 4-pack tomorrow, and then we'll give you an opportunity to win tickets to go see the Herd on Saturday. So choose which one you want to win. Go for that one. But I do encourage you to be a part of our text line today. That's how you're going to win them. And it's 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. I feel like today, I don't want to say this is a participation trophy, but I think today I want to hear from you. So I'm not going to make you jump to too many hoops today on those. If you're a participant, you're going to be eligible for technically our text of the day. So that's how we're going to give those away today. Maybe we'll do something fun tomorrow. But for today, let's make it a little easier on you. I want to give you a chance to win. And if you do text in today, let me know that you can go. So if you can't go, I'll know to go to somebody else and give them a shot first. So if you would do that favor for me, I appreciate it. Or if you want the tickets, let me know as well. And that way you're in for the drawing. And that number one more time, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Let's break down the Marshall game against Coastal Carolina. We'll do that when we continue. Then we'll hear from Dan D'Antoni. We'll hear from Kim Caldwell. We'll do that as well. And we'll hear from you on today's edition of The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Hey, Tri-State, Frank's Place is where friends hang out with friends. Stop on by for happy hour from 4 to 6 p.m. and a lot of daily specials. If you're a sports fan, we have what you want. From the biggest game in professional football, NBA, NCAA basketball, and the NHL. First responders, stop by Frank's Place and check out the specials we have for you. Frank's Place, located at the River Place Plaza, next to Fratelli's. Check us out on Facebook for weekly updates and specials. specials. Frank's Place, your home away from home.
Now is the time to add on a new bathroom or remodel your old one with the latest up-to-date bathroom fixtures from Mutual Wholesalers, 710 5th Street, Huntington. Come in today to Mutual Wholesalers' beautiful showroom and see how your new bathroom will look. Check out Acre by Max. Have a new bathroom this year. Mutual Wholesalers, locally owned and operated, 710 5th Street, Huntington. Call 304-525-9118.
Stalwart Insurance is the name for insurance in the tri-state. They are committed to delivering tailored benefit solutions with thoughtful, strategic planning with valuable professional services. Stop by or call Stalwart Insurance for your homeowner's insurance needs. Stalwart Insurance is located right beside Kitty Queen Hardware on Route 10 in Barbersville. Call Stalwart Insurance anytime at 304-552-3883. That's 304-552-3883. Or visit them online at stalwartinsurance.com.
Metro Community Federal Credit Union has been serving the Huntington community for 70 years and is proud to announce our newest location in Lavalette is now open. Wayne County residents, you now have access to a modern banking facility, a full range of services, advanced technology, expert financial advice, and even a smart coffee kiosk cafe. Learn more about Metro Community Federal Credit Union online at metrocommunityfcu.com or visit us today on 5th Street Road.
Equal housing lender, member NCUA.
The more vulnerable among us can fall victim to abuse, neglect, and financial exploitation. When navigating your way out, it doesn't have to feel like a maze. Assistance is available from Adult Protective Services. To report neglect or abuse, call 800-352-6513. Sponsored by the Administration for Community Living, West Virginia Department of Health and Human Resources Bureau for Social Services, the West Virginia Broadcasters Association, and this station.
This project was supported by the Administration for Community Living, ACL, and the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, HHS, as part of a financial assistance award totaling $383,493, with 75% funded by ACL HHS and 25% in the amount of $85,236 funded by state government sources. The contents are those of the authors and do not necessarily represent the official views of nor an endorsement by ACL, HHS, or the U.S. government.
This is The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
Our text line this hour, it's 304-396-TALK. 304-396-8255. Welcome back to The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Before we break down this Marshall Coastal Carolina game, we said a lot about it on Saturday during our postgame, but I've got a few more things I want to get in there with you. We'll hear from Dan D'Antoni in just a moment. First up on the text line, texter says, Paul, there's a big weekend on the Hill for Huntington High sports. The boys hoops team wins regional championship over George Washington. The boys swim team wins first state championship in school history. Yeah, a lot of good things happening with the Highlanders. And, of course, basketball hasn't won in a while, so I'm happy to see that. I'm an old Pony Express guy myself, but I've adopted the Highlanders to a degree. That's still Huntington East colors for me, but I mean, yeah, I know it's green. I like green, but it's still Pony Express. I know. Let it go, Paul. Let it go. But yeah, some good stuff happening for Huntington High. We'll definitely need to follow up on that. Talking a little bit about Marshall basketball, texter says, Paul, so Dan is saying the success of the season depends on how he does in the tournament. 2 home games against the 2 best teams in the conference and 2 on the road, could finish the season on a 7-game lose streak. I hate that possibility as well. And that would really hurt where Marshall would be, because Marshall's trying to get into the top 4, or was trying to get into the top 4, still is probably. But that got a little harder because Marshall ultimately would have liked to have played for the 1 spot. That wasn't going to happen, but you want to keep those hopes up. And so the loss dropped Marshall to 12-15, 7-7 in Sun Belt play. Can't catch App State. That's out. But there was a possibility you could possibly catch up with Louisiana. You could get in there, maybe get that 4 spot. That would have helped you a little bit. I don't think that Marshall is in a good spot right now unless Marshall really turns it around. If Marshall beats App and JMU at home, I'm going to be completely ready to jump on and say, let's go. This team is ready. Tough home stand coming up. And Dan's not dismissing these games. I don't want you to misunderstand, or at least I don't think he's dismissing these games. Dan talked about just being excited. We got JMU and we got App State coming in. We got the best teams in the Sun Belt coming into the Henderson Center. And he addressed that earlier. He talked about the excitement of having those two teams here in Huntington. And, of course, the game on television on Saturday. That's a big deal for Dan.
Well, it's going to give our guys a nice number. It's also going to give the fans, you get to see good basketball. You come here Wednesday and you come here Saturday. Saturday's a national TV game. It's a chance for us to showcase Marshall. And I'm always trying to showcase Marshall, but make it look as good as it can be. And you don't ever look bad if you're fighting to the end. I don't care win or lose. You do not look bad. And you do not look back and say, oh, my, or start whining and complaining or looking at, talk about somebody. Like I said, my mom get right up off that table and let you hear yourself because she wasn't listening to none of it. So kind of like that, I always will be. I think it's the best way to live your life, and we try to teach it to these young men. And I think they exhibit that. If you watch practice today, it's one of our best ones. So we're going to fight it all the way out. Stay with us. Two good ball games coming in here Wednesday and Saturday. I hope that you'll get out here and support it and show Marshall what we're made of and be a part of it. It's fun. Win, lose, or draw. It's fun.
That's Dan D'Antoni when he was asked about just the excitement of having JMU and App come into the Henderson Center. We'll hear his opening statement and a couple other things he said in just a moment, but I want to look back briefly on this. The shock of losing to Coastal Carolina, a team that Marshall had beaten 3 times previously. Never lost in the Young Series. Last time they met was on February 3rd and won that one 91-74. So Marshall, what happened? Now on a 3-game lose streak, 5 straight on the road. Dropped to 12-15, 7-7 in Sun Belt. Obina and Achille-Killen did not perform well. Last game was a little bit better. Just a little bit? I don't know. I'm trying to explain what's going on with Obina. He's lost his shot. Something's happened there. I don't know what's going on with him. But in that App State game, he was 1 of 14. And I know we're talking about, okay, that was the App State game. Why are we going back to App State? I think it's relevant because now you look at the game against Coastal, and Obina's line in that one was 1 of 6. 2 points. Got in some early foul trouble. So we look at that. We look at the final box score from those last 2 teams. 2 of 21. Hang on. Let me do the math here. 2 of 20. 2 of 20 those last 2 games. 2 of 20, 5 points. He's lost his shot. Something's happened. I don't know what it is. He wasn't very effective on the boards, really wasn't a presence, didn't give you much. I'm not saying he lost you the game, but he's lost something. And so Dan was asked about that earlier. Just how do you get Oak's shot back? And if you got any suggestions, I think Dan's taking them right now.
Well, how I get a shot back, I don't know. Pray, I guess. I'll go home and pray about that one. I'm not so sure there's anything I can do. But you know what? O's been. I got you. O's been terrific. It's all confidence. It's all you got to believe in it. But if there's a lot of negativity around you, and I'm a great believer in aura. If people start if your players, if your fans, if your coaches, if I start complaining and whining, it ain't going to get better, folks. It's going downhill. And you know what? I looked at O. I said, and I tell him the truth. You had 2 bad games. You got to pick this up, and you can do it. Let's get this done next best one. Like I said, tomorrow's always better than yesterday. Let's make tomorrow better, O. Get your stuff in there and let's bring it, and bring it against these guys. And I think he'll give you his best shot. Now, whether that's enough, we'll see. But I know one thing, I can live with anybody giving me their best shot. And my assistant coaches, my staff, my managers, the players themselves, they're doing that. So I'm behind them 100%. Going to stay out there and fight it all the way, and we'll see what happens. 2 good games, though. Wednesday night, Saturday, national TV, ESPN. Let's get out here and push Marshall out in a real positive light.
So Dan's positive. That's his philosophy. He is being positive. And you'll hear something from him in a second as far as, being encouraged. His team's not going to quit. And he answered something else about being positive. Like the bench play. There are some things that he liked from what he saw. But at the same time, you don't have that many games to go. You're running out of time. 4 games. All right, your position's not that good, but it's not terrible in the league. So, okay, you could get into the tournament, get a decent seed, and then go out, be competitive, make a run, right? And if you go out and play well against App State, and you go out and you play well against JMU, you might have a shot of maybe making a run. I need to see something against JMU. That's going to be a challenging game, to be honest. I'm gonna need a Marshall victory. If Marshall wins the next 2, which is gonna be tough, then I'm gonna feel a lot better. I'm gonna feel a lot more like this team. Okay, he's got it. They're starting to gel at the right time. They're putting it together. Because if Marshall wins the tournament, we're not going to really worry too much about how Marshall got there, right? Is that what the vibe is from him? Is that what you're hoping that he's going for? That, look, it's all about, at the end of the day, we got to the point where we could win the tournament. We won the tournament, and we got into the NCAA tournament. We won the conference. We get to the NCAA. But completely different about how Marshall women are going about it. The women, they are tearing it up right now. They're 19-6. They're 13-1 in league play. They're getting closer to clinching a regular season championship. We'll hear more from Dan, but I want to hear from Kim, and I want to hear from you. Our text line this hour is 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. And don't forget, I'm giving you an opportunity today to win 4 tickets to go see the Herd take on JMU. Dan D'Antoni wants to see you there. I'm going to make it easy for you. I'll give you those opportunities coming up on our text line, and that's 304-396-TALK. Kim Caldwell coming up. More from Dan D'Antoni and from you when we continue on today's edition of The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Save big money on everything. Now at Menards. Check out our great selection of pet supplies and stock up today. Greenie's Dental Treats are vet recommended for clean teeth and healthy gums. They're made with real natural ingredients, plus vitamins to ensure balanced nutrition. Pick up a value pack of Greenie's Dental Treats for just $39.98. Good through February 21st. Savings are a mail-in rebate. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Save big money at Menards.
Stuck in a state of falling behind, struggling to keep up with kids, finances, insurance, and life? Well, let your State Farm agent help you simplify and get to a better state. With State Farm handling your auto, home, and life insurance, you'll have more time to handle everything else. More money, too. Adding State Farm policies can earn discounts that could add up to 40% and help you get ahead. Call an agent today and get to a better state with State Farm. In Huntington, John Garton, 304-525-1116. In Barbersville, Marcia Slater, 304-736-6100. And in Cerrito, Aaron Billups, 304-453-4600.
Glockner's Too Easy initiative has returned for 2024. We're making it too easy to get more for your trade with our biggest cash offers. We pay more. Too easy to save time because Glockner has the fastest, most transparent 5-star shopping experience around. Too easy to find the vehicle perfect for you as Glockner has the area's biggest pre-owned inventory. That's why it's too easy to buy a car at Glockner.
We make it easy at Glockner.com. Giovanni's has great Italian dishes. Spaghetti with meat sauce, lasagna, ravioli, manicotti, and baked lasagna. Giovanni's has the best sandwiches around, from the stromboli, Italian sub, calzones, and their signature Big Red. All dinners will be served with hot garlic bread or Italian rolls. Giovanni's Pizza, fresh, hot, and tasty. Have it delivered right to your door. Giovanni's, the Italian place to be.
Imagine having all the money you need for retirement, all the income, every month, guaranteed. That's Secure Future Investor, an indexed annuity tied to growth in the stock market, but without any risk of loss ever. It's guaranteed money for life income, no matter how long you live. Call 888-509-2228. 888-509-2228. Sponsored by GP Agency, Inc., Raleigh, North Carolina. Licensed in all states. Performance may vary. Consult with your financial professional before making an investment decision.
This is The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
Welcome back to our Monday edition. Don't forget, coming up later this evening, you're going to hear from Dan D'Antoni. We'll be speaking with the voice of the herd, Steve Cotton. It's the Dan D'Antoni Show coming up 7:05 right here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930 and on 93.7 The Dog. We've been talking a little bit about the Marshall men suffering a loss at Coastal Carolina over the weekend. We'll hear more from Dan in just a few minutes, but Kim Caldwell and her squad right now, they're looking to win a regular season championship, then go into the tournament and win that as well. Marshall with the win against Old Dominion over the weekend, 89-75, now 19-6, 13-1 in league play. I think Kim's still mad about that JMU loss at home. The last time the Marshall women had a 20-win season was back in the 2015-2016 season, and that team went to the WNIT that year. Last time the team had a conference title, and this is the Southern Conference tournament title, it was the 1997 title. That's a tournament. That was the only appearance for Marshall in the NCAA tournament, 1997 appearance. The last time that Marshall won you want to call it a regular season championship, we got to go back to 2005. The women were MAC East champs. That's the last, to be fair, regular season champion. That's like a division title. You won the East. Still, you won it, 2005. So we got to go away. And then Marshall had that amazing stretch of winning the regular season championship in 1985, 86, 87, 88, and 89. Couldn't get past the tournament, but regular season championships, that's consistency. I wish Marshall would have been able to continue that and maybe broken through the tournament a little bit more in the Southern Conference. But still, that's an amazing part of Marshall women's basketball history, the consistency there. So the Thundering Herds had some success over the last few months with Kim Caldwell to the point now that they're going to contend for a regular season championship. But we go back first to the weekend before we move ahead and talk about what's at stake here. So Kim, and speaking with her earlier this week, she talks about the weekend. She was happy.
Yeah, really happy with last week. It was a tough swing for us. It was a really tough trip. Two great opponents on the road in two tough environments. And so happy to be done with that one, and a tougher one probably coming up this week because it's longer. It's 5 days, and so with a quick turnaround. And so just trying to get back to work here and practice.
So that was her opening remarks. She talked about something else that has come up time and time again. This team has a lot of resolve. It can be down, and then it can be up. Comes to a close game, I don't know. I don't feel good because I like seeing Marshall blow out teams. I like seeing Marshall be in a position where it doesn't have to worry at the end. And her team sometimes has put her in a spot where, okay, are we going to fade here? What's going on here? But this team, if it gets down, it comes back. If there's adversity, this team deals with it. And she talked about this team's resolve. She really likes the way her team is looking right now?
Yeah, I think we have had that all year. We did not have it at our JMU game, which was probably the first time in a long time that I've seen us not really have a response. But I think right now our resolve is coming from our seniors. Abby Beeman is playing with a different look in her eye. Bree is playing with a different look in her eye. Tamia is giving us some really good minutes. And so you have 3 players that have a clock on them. And I think that they have a major sense of urgency, and they're good enough players that they can get people to follow them.
It's a good point. These players are playing with a lot of urgency. They have a clock on them. They know it's coming to an end. So they want to make the most of it. And this is the best Marshall women's basketball has been in a long time at the Cam Henderson Center. Both home and away, this has been some of the best basketball we've seen in a long time from the women's program. So it's now to the point where teams like Old Dominion saying in their post-game comments that they feel like they didn't give Marshall its best shot. Marshall's now becoming, if not already, becoming the team with the target on its back. And Kim recognizes that as well and talks a little bit more about when that became the case. First, Marshall didn't have a target on its back. Marshall, with a 13-1 conference mark, now has a target on its back.
Yeah, we definitely feel that. And that's a good problem to have, but it's another teaching thing. And when you have a new team and it's been just so much growth from the beginning, right? We had to learn how to do it. We had to learn how to just win a game. We had to learn how to play fast. We had to learn how to earn respect. We had to learn how to just be competitive enough to win games. And then now you have to learn how to be the team that everyone wants to be. It's just a lot of phases that sometimes people do with recruiting classes and different players that they've had to do all at once, and they've done a pretty good job with it. But it's definitely been new. I think we've probably felt it the last 3 or 4 games.
And we now come to the part in which I was setting up earlier. 19-6, 13-1, last 21 season. Squad went 22-12, got to the WNIT. That was the 2015-2016 squad. Last conference title, outright conference title, gets you to the NCAA tournament. 1997 in the Southern Conference. Marshall won a Mackey's championship in 2005. Marshall was the regular season champion in the Southern Conference in 1985, 86, 87, 88, and 89. So there have been moments of success. This Marshall team is now getting to the point where it can claim a regular season championship, and hopefully it can move on now to the next thing, and that's the tournament. Now we can talk about the tournament at least a little bit more confidently with this team. We can talk about it. We're not there yet, though. That's what I love about Kim. We're not there yet. She talked about her thoughts about the fact that this team it's on the verge of being a cinch, locking it in, getting that regular season championship. Kim's not parading that around just yet.
Right now, we're just going to go play. We don't really talk about it. We're just going to play and take it one game at a time. And our Texas State game is going to be a huge game for us. It's one we gotta go and we gotta take care of business. And it's easier said than done. And you look at the records and you may think it's going to be an easy game, but it's without a doubt not going to be. And so we got to focus on that game, and that's what our focus is going to be today in practice.
That's Kim Caldwell. We will focus more on that game tomorrow with you. Dan D'Antoni getting set for a big week, taking on the best teams in the league, JMU, App State. Opportunity for the Herd here to make a statement. That's really where we're at right now. This is Marshall's opportunity to say to the rest of the conference, we're putting you on notice. We've got it figured out. Here we are. We're coming for you. We're going to take the tournament. We're coming for you. Watch out. Here we are. This is Marshall's opportunity with this weekend. First up, though, Dan looks back on the weekend that was, he did have some positive things to say about it. And he wants to keep a positive outlook about everything.
You know, it was a tough week. Obviously, we lost 2 ball games, and nobody likes to do that. But, you know, I'll get the philosophy part, and I'll live and die by this, and it's one of the things that I appreciate my parents for, and I'm sure other people have the same thing. But I learned a long time ago, you never give up. You know, you just don't give up. You know, you're born in southern West Virginia in a coal mining town. Everybody says they're always better than you, and they got more things than you. Don't give up. You believe in what you got. You do the best you can. You go out there and give them your best shot. Nobody's better than you. You're no better than anybody else. And you just live that philosophy. Tomorrow, always be better than today. And I believe in that. I believe in these kids. I can promise you one thing, they will not give up. And I know our good fans, our hardy fans, will not give up on them. And the last thing I'm going to say is that the other thing I learned from my parents, when I came home and whined and cried and talked about somebody, she got up and left the table. I was pitying myself, and I realized that, you know, you don't do that. You don't whine, you don't cry, you don't talk about people. You go out there and do the best you can, and that's what we're going to do. I know this team will not quit on Marshall University, and I'm sure that the good fans of Marshall will not quit on them. So that's my opening statement. We're looking forward to these next 2 ball games. They're 2 of the top teams in the conference. We can make a statement, but we're going to try to get ready and get into that tournament and see if we can't bring some excitement back here to Huntington.
You know, I don't know if Dan's read a message board or he's listened to this show. Probably because if you hear us, he gets up and leaves. Let us talk to ourselves. Man, he is extremely, extremely focused on being positive right now. And that's probably a good thing. You don't want to be negative, but I don't know how that works. Because Herd fans, I don't think it's because they don't like it. It's because they want to see you win. And they need to vent. They need to express themselves somehow when you don't win. Because they put a lot of energy into this team. So I get it. I know where the aggravation may be sometimes with fans thinking that Dan's just, you know, he's just too happy. He's too happy-go-lucky. Dan's chill. Up or down, Dan's chill. And you heard that today. From our text line, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Marshall, according to the texter, Marshall needs to win these next 2. Go Herd. We support them, win or lose. Also from the text line, Paul, the women sub 2 or 3 players continuously, stay fresh and aggressive. Coach Dan plays iron 5 basketball, old school. Substitutes 1 or 2, barely. Had to use the bench a little bit more, didn't he? In that last game, just a little bit more. Obina and a Chili Killing out there only 15 minutes. Now, he didn't go that deep. We had 9 players on the court in total. Kevon was out there 31 minutes. Jacob Connor was out there 24 minutes. Camden Kerfman out there 28 minutes. Obina, 15 minutes. Nate Martin got 4 points out of him, 7 rebounds, 37 minutes. Wyatt Fricks, who you're going to hear from tomorrow, 29 points. Cameron Crawford. It's been so long since I've said his name, I need to say it correctly. Cameron Crawford. 19 minutes, 9 points. Ryan Nutter, 10 minutes, no points. Marco Saranic, 7 minutes, 2 points. Let me go back to that for a second. When's the last time I said the name Cameron Crawford? It's been a while. And so you had to depend on some of your bench guys a little bit more. And Dan talked about that. There were some positives he said. He brought that up when he was asked about that earlier today about the bench play. And that's a good point from the texter. I appreciate that.
Better. Well, what we're preaching, we like that. And maybe I didn't do my job well enough to get to where they understood the heart of the game. Not the skill of the game, but the heart of the game. And that it goes 1 through 16. I push it out there, but maybe I didn't push hard enough. Maybe I didn't stress it often enough. But I'm doing it now. And I think you can read it in my energy. And, I love this game. I love playing. I love competing. And I love Marshall, and we're going to do that. So you'll see it. I hope everybody comes out here and be a part of it.
Ends on a positive note, as he always does. You think that Marshall should play a similar style across the board? Should that be the Marshall style of basketball? What the women are playing? Could you get that going a little bit more with the men? Would that be an exciting style of play? And I'm not trying to pit the two against each other. I'm not trying to compare. It's apples and oranges. They're two different teams. But could you imagine what the women's style of basketball would look with the men? How fun would that be? It's fun. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that women's basketball is boring anymore. I'm never going to tell you that. I'm not going to say, look, yeah, it's women's basketball. It's a growing sport. The women are playing some really good basketball. It's fun. They're competitive. They get after it. And as our texter said, they're subbing in constantly. It's like hockey for me. That's what I like about it. It's like a hockey shift. All right, throw them in there. Next shift, get up there. Change. They always look fresh. They always look like they're ready to go. Now, we'll hear it tomorrow from Kim, but she said that app game, she said that was challenging because of the altitude. She looked at her squad and went, yeah, I'm not used to seeing you winded like that because the altitude is real. To borrow from Coach Huff, playing at App State is hard, and they are real, and that altitude is real. Couple more from Dan coming up, and your text, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Your opportunity to win tickets to go see the Herd. It's a 4-pack. I'll give you that opportunity throughout the show on our text line. Texter of the day wins my 4-pack, and we'll give you a chance to win those tomorrow as well. So don't worry, you'll have multiple chances at them. More coming up. It's The Drive, ESPN 94.1 in AM 930.
Working Man Store in Huntington. Check out the biggest inventory of scrubs in West Virginia, featuring brands such as Healing Hands, Dickies, Cherokee, and Med Couture at the best price. Working Man Store has one of the largest selections of big and tall shirts, jackets, and jeans in the area. Working Man Store is the king of blue jeans with Levi's, Dickies, Carhartt, Lee, and Wranglers in sizes up to 72. And Working Man Store has the best selection of men's work boots and casual shoes anywhere at the best price. Working Man Store, open every day at 140 5th Avenue, Huntington.
Hey, Tri-State, Frank's Place is where friends hang out with friends. Stop on by for happy hour from 4 to 6 p.m. and a lot of daily specials. If you're a sports fan, we have what you want. From the biggest game in professional football, NBA, NCAA basketball, and the NHL. First responders, stop by Frank's Place and check out the specials we have for you. Frank's Place, located at the River Place Plaza, next to Fratelli's. Check us out on Facebook for weekly updates and specials. Frank's Place, your home away from home.
Stalwart Insurance is the name for insurance in the Tri-State. They are committed to delivering tailored benefit solutions with thoughtful, strategic planning with valuable professional services. Stop by or call Stalwart Insurance for your homeowner's insurance needs. Stalwart Insurance is located right beside Kenny Queen Hardware on Route 10 in Barbersville. Call Stalwart Insurance anytime at 304-552-3883. That's 304-552-3883. Or visit them online at stalwartinsurance.com.
You know, there's something about a truck you can count on and that SUV that's been on every family vacation for a decade. TikTok Tire and Uniroyal know your truck or family car is only as reliable as the tires underneath it. And that's why Uniroyal made the Laredo AT Tire and HT Tire to be the tires you trust. You know, like you trust your truck, your SUV, or TikTok Tire. Uniroyal Laredo AT and Laredo HT. See where 130 years of value takes you. For more information, stop into TikTok Tire, 2102 3rd Avenue, Huntington, right across from the stadium, or call 304-525-7831.
In the tapestry of life, we encounter stories of legacy and accomplishment, but sometimes also abuse, neglect, or financial exploitation. Adult Protective Services understands the importance of safeguarding the well-being of our loved ones, our neighbors, and our community. To report neglect or abuse, call 800-352-6513. Sponsored by the Administration for Community Living, West Virginia Department of Health and Human Resources, Bureau for Social Services, the West Virginia Broadcasters Association, and this station. This project was supported by the Administration for Community Living, ACL, and the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, HHS, as part of a financial assistance award totaling $383,493, with 75% funded by ACL, HHS, and 25% in the amount of $85,236 funded by state government sources. The contents are those of the authors and do not necessarily represent the official views of, nor an endorsement by, ACL, HHS, or the U.S. government.
If you're looking for a new couch, you could cut down on expenses by bundling your car and renter's insurance with Progressive. Because you know you've had this couch for too long. Sure, you've had good times together, but a ripped-up cushion is not a fond memory. It's a sign. Notice how other people have couches with 2 armrests? Now that's living, right? No, it's just normal. So bundle your renters and car insurance with Progressive and put the savings toward a new couch. Please, it's time. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company. Coverage provided and serviced by affiliates and third-party insurers. Not available in all states.
Every 2 minutes, a child becomes a victim of sex trafficking in the U.S. It's happening right now. Don't change the channel. Don't cover your kids' ears, no matter how much you want to ignore it. Child trafficking is real. In fact, it's happening in your town. And you know what our greatest weapon against child trafficking is? It's our children. It's time to act with PACT. That's Partners Against Child Trafficking. PACT works to teach students to identify the warning signs of child trafficking so they can help other vulnerable kids around them. PACT student ambassadors receive in-depth training on the issue and design a project to raise awareness, reduce victimization, and disrupt demand. Any student around the world can sign up for PACT's online training program and learn how to stop child trafficking. Go to pact.city to sign up for the 1-hour course today. With PACT, we declare not one more victim.
This is The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
Today, final segment here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. I'm your host, Paul Swann. We're getting you an opportunity to go see the Herd this week. I've got tickets for the game on Wednesday, and I got tickets on Saturday. If you don't win today, you get another shot at it tomorrow with a 4-pack that we're giving away. Our texter of the day, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. So if you don't win them today, I got them again tomorrow, and then I'm going to have tickets for the game on Saturday. That's going to be the nationally televised game. This one's a big one as well, as Marshall's taking on JMU. The Thundering Herd getting set for biggest week in a while, honestly, from Marshall basketball. You win these next 2, you got to start feeling good about yourself and your chances going into the tournament. And I know a lot of fans feel like you focus too much on the tournament. Let's go one game at a time here. Let's focus on winning and winning in the regular season. And then let's focus a little bit more on getting that tournament. But let's win that regular season first. Let's do that. Let's win. Let's be greedy. Let's win them all. Like the women are doing right now. The women are steamrolling into the regular season championship. Hopefully they can keep that momentum going and win the conference tournament as well. Get them both. Some nice hardware. Then hopefully the men can turn this thing around real quick. And I'm curious, where are you at as far as your encouragement? Are you on Dan D'Antoni's level of encouragement? Are you there? Or are you Where are you? I'm not even going to put that in your mouth. You tell me, where are you at right now? I'm not even going to give you the prompt. Where are you at on this? We know where Dan D'Antoni is, and if you don't, he reminded us today.
I'm always encouraged. See, I don't look at the rain clouds. You know, I always see bright sun. Maybe to a fault if you want to be, but I tell you what, I'm a lot happier for doing it. And I see sunshine every day, every play, every shot. And it's one good thing about our coaching staff. They're all West Virginians, and they basically say, well, they ain't going to quit. Ain't nobody on is going to quit. And I just think that they understand what we're trying to get accomplished, have one of our best practices today. I think our young men will follow it up. I talked about Judge Justin Edmonds, who's back here. And he came, he was a junior when I came, and he was starting to get it. And he started playing right at the end. He had his best game, blows his knee out. And next year, it really was never the same. But I wanted him back and be a part of this program. But and he's from Detroit, I believe I got that right. But he never wanted to give up. I saw the fight in his eyes, and he didn't have the accomplishments of John Elmore. His team didn't win like John's did. But I value him as much as I do John because of who he is as a person. He never gave up. He always kept his fight. He always gave me his best. So that's kind of what I believe in. I think assistant coaches are all kind of like that. We at West Virginia, that's where we are, man. We don't give up. So we'll dig in. We'll give Marshall its best shot, and we'll see what happens.
Dan's optimistic. He's positive. He's ready to go. And he was asked. This came later, and it might cover some of the same material, but I want to get to it real quick. Dan was asked about, hey, are there some positives, all the things that are going on, are there some positives right now? And so this might be a little bit of the same, what you heard just a few minutes ago, but Dan today, that was the theme of the presser.
Well, like I said, I don't need a boaster. I'm always that way. I'm always going to finish strong. I'm going to give you everything I got. That's all I can do. What do I see? I see my players haven't quit. You know, they haven't quit. And in the end, they're the ones. They got to do it. And all I am is there. I'm kind of the coxman. You know, row, but they got to row. If they don't row, we don't go.
I'm going to leave it at that with Dan. If they don't row, we don't go. So Dan's leaving it to his team. He's out there. He's giving them what they need to know. He's putting them in positions. Here you go. I've given you everything. I've given you the tools. I've given you what you need. You guys got to go out there and put those baskets in the bucket now. And so is that going to hold up? Are we going to see that? I mean, I was a little bit of practice today. They were intense. I'll give them that. This isn't a team that's just going out and dogging it. I can honestly attribute to that. There's no doubt in my mind they don't go at it hard. There's no doubt in my mind. I'm not going to ever say, look, Dan just phones it in practice. But the big problem has been over the last few games, and for a time here now, is they've had a tough time shooting. The shooting has been, and that's the name of the game. This is basketball. You shoot the ball. If you're not shooting well, you're not going to win. They shot 33.3% against Coastal Carolina. They were 24 of 72. Coastal was 24-52. Marshall had 20 more shots. Absolutely should win that game. You got 20 more shots. 38 rebounds. Coastal had 41. And if you make some of those, maybe you don't have as many shots, but you have more makes. That's what we're looking at. All right, we're out of time. Thanks for tuning in. I'll be back with you tomorrow.
Retransmitting in Glorious FM on 94.1 W227BS Huntington. This is 930 WRVC Huntington, celebrating 100 years of broadcasting.